I overheard someone explain why they left their job. And they said it wasn't because I hated my manager or that I was burnt out. I left because I felt dead inside. And I was like, honey, what do you think burnout is, if not that? And, in a way, that moment inspired me to take a step back and stop assuming that people know what burnout is and take a moment to define it because you can't fix something that you can't name. If you've always been the one who could handle it and recently you've been quietly wondering why you can't anymore, this channel's for you. I'm Ruth. I have a master's in organizational psychology and over 20 years studying people up close in companies and in their lives. And what I've learned is that burnout is more than a workload issue. It runs much deeper. And there's a way back. Something interesting that I'm seeing is that people are quietly suffering from burnout. It seems that people who are actually burning out aren't those that are constantly using the word burnout. And what I mean by that is they are exhibiting all the symptoms of burnout, the cynicism about their situation, the deep exhaustion that sleep can't fix, and not being as effective as they once were, but they would never reach for the word burnout. And when I offer it, they often seem surprised or doubtful, but when they learn what burnout actually means, it all makes sense. But initially, they think, how can I be burnt out? I'm still showing up, I'm still productive, I am a professional. This is how I got here, by doing hard things and managing a heavy workload and a heavy demand, and others would dream to be where I'm at. And if I look around, I have a great life. So instead they say, well, it must be this project, this new boss, maybe this new season. And once things calm down, I'll bounce back. But things never calm down and they never bounce back. So what's happening? I suspect that the issue is how we use the word burnout. Listen to how it gets used. Someone is burnt out from house hunting or over planning or binge watching a show or the trip's itinerary or even this conversation. Burnout is everywhere, yet it's evolved to mean being tired, being bored, being overwhelmed, even with the hustle culture and just being physically depleted. Meanwhile, burnout is none of that. Simply put, burnout is when you keep giving to something that stops giving back. And giving back is more than about pay. Researchers have found 6 things that we need from our work to keep doing it well. Things like control in how we do our work, fairness in how decisions are made, that the people we work with have our backs, and that the work that we do is meaningful. When those things are there, we can give a whole lot and stay whole. But when something is missing, when there's a mismatch between what we give and what we get back, that's where burnout develops. You don't need all 6 to experience burnout, but usually there's more than one going on. I made a separate video about this if you want to check it out later. For now, all you need to know is that burnout has a functional definition and is a validated measurement. It is a painful state of being driven by mismatches in the environment. And it's also been described by a prominent burnout researcher as, quote, the erosion of the human soul. Might I point out a rather eloquent way of saying feeling dead inside? Here's the thing, no one's to blame. Language drifts. Online and in culture, we all borrow words for emphasis. I'm dying, I'm starving, I'm obsessed. It is how we speak. And for the most part, it's harmless. When I'm starving just means I haven't eaten since breakfast. But it's different for burnout, and this is why I'm protective of it. Because for the person burning out, not knowing what they're experiencing or what's happening to them prevents them from finding the information that can actually help them. So you continue to search for the wrong fix. You might rest or self-care harder when that alone will never fix burnout. You might be even more disciplined or push yourself harder despite inner signals, which makes you even more vulnerable to burnout. You might get stuck longer or leave prematurely without exploring other options. All of this to say, not understanding the meaning of burnout hurts the person in burnout the most because you can't fix what you can't name. So let's go back to the woman who left her job. She was so certain that it wasn't burnout, but also adamant that she felt dead inside because of her job. What if she learned that feeling dead inside is precisely what burnout can feel like? Maybe she finds a way to make her day-to-day more sustainable. Or maybe she still leaves, but on her own terms, with a plan, instead of from a place of having no other choice. That's what an accurate word gives you. Options. And that's exactly why I want to get clear about what burnout is and what it isn't. If right now you're actually unsure if you're burnt out or just tired or physically exhausted, I'll give you a way to find out. It's not a diagnosis, but it's a data point. I want you to rest just for 15 minutes, 30 if you can stretch it. And I want you to notice how you feel before you rest and how you feel after you rest. You might want to jot this down so you don't forget. If you feel better after you rest, that's a data point. So you might want to up your resting from 15 minutes to 30 minutes and see if that also feels good. But if resting isn't improving your situation, that's also a data point. And it probably means resting harder isn't the answer. And if that's you and you feel just as stressed, stuck, or overwhelmed after resting, then it probably means something else is draining you. And you might want to find out what that drain is to fix your burnout. And if you need some help, I actually have a free quiz on my website that will help you pinpoint your biggest drain and what is your biggest opportunity for relief. I'll put that link below somewhere. Now you know, burnout isn't just a vibe. It's not just feeling tired or overwhelmed or overworked. Burnout is when you keep giving to something that doesn't give back the 6 things you need to stay motivated and do your best work. Consider what I shared, but don't just take my word for it. Experiment and test it against your own experience. If what I shared landed today, I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around. This is what this channel is about: burnout and the way back seen differently. Take care of yourself as you would a good friend, and I'll see you next time.